What a beautiful reading that was from Raised to the One Light. So, abiding in God, what does that really mean when you hear those words, when you watch those words? Abiding in God. One of the things that comes to my mind is a baby being held in its parents' arms. And the arms are close to the parent's heart. The baby is abiding in their parent. God is our parent. And we have a tremendous pleasure of being able to abide in God. How do we experience that? Abiding in Him. It's interesting that it starts by our loving everybody. If we don't love each other, if we don't love the others in the world, even the enemies, if we don't love on a human level, how do we expect to love on a divine level? Now, don't get me wrong, God loves you no matter what. But for you to really experience that love and experience that connection, it's really important to love all who God loves. And that's not always easy. By loving everybody, it kind of engages us to be more even-minded, and by giving more than we receive. And so if we really want to follow God's rules, we want to be even-minded and also cheerful, and not letting anything take us out of our inner center. Because that's really where we need to go all the time. Because that's where God resides within us, in our inner center. And how do we do that? Well, we have to start remembering. If you're going through a hard experience, ask yourself, what is the lesson in this? God never wants to punish us. But in everything there is a lesson. And so, when those unwanted experiences come up, when that person steps on our toes or cuts us off in traffic or whatever, try to remember that somehow or other God had a hand in this. And turn to God and be thankful that whatever this is has happened because it's given us a moment to really tune in, to really clutch on, to hold on to God. This is going to be, this is going to sound really lovely. If every day, in every way, everything was wonderful, you'd say, whoa, did I die and go to the astral world? But everything in every day is not always wonderful. Every day has its challenges. And the challenges that we have, again, are not meant to, sometimes we think, oh God, what did I do to deserve this? Well, maybe you didn't do anything to deserve it. But it may be that you are having this experience because it's an experience that gives you the opportunity to move forward, to move higher, to move deeper. So I'm not saying we have to love everything bad that comes down the creek, down the hike, but when it does happen, rather than get ourselves in inner turmoil, just go into the heart and ask the divine, what are you trying to teach me from this? What do I need to know? What would you have me do? what is the lesson in this? God never wants to punish us, but in everything there is a lesson. So what do we do? How do we work through this? Well, if we remain steadfastly centered in your own heart, then nothing can touch you. It might touch you physically. It might really annoy you. But if you stay centered in the heart, it can't touch that deepest place. Because that's where God resides. You know, Master says, what comes of itself, let it come. That means bad things as well as good. Some of you know that Swami Kriyananda was put out of SRF. And he was very, very sad for quite a long time. It was a very difficult experience in his life. And when he was put out of SRF, he went to Anandamoyi Ma. Anandamoyi Ma is a woman saint, just a very, very blessed person. She resides in India. I don't know if she's still on this plane or she's in the astral world right now. And Anandamoyi Ma said to him, accept this as your Guru's grace. Be even-minded and cheerful. Swami thought that there was nothing in the world that could have been worse than to be put out of SRF. And here she's saying, accept this as your Guru's grace. Be even-minded and cheerful. And in reading this and in preparing for this, I'm really thinking about how often do I do that? I don't think I do it a whole lot. But I think I should get on track and try doing that. Because when things happen to us, when we feel bad things happening to us, or unfortunate things, or things that really we have no idea why it came to us, we don't have to give up our inner calmness. We don't have to give up our inner joy. We don't have to give up the God within us. That's a time to go inward and call to the divine and ask for help in the situation. And the help doesn't necessarily have to come, okay, Master, ask me how can I get back at that person. It's not the way it has to come. You let God take care of that. The way it has to come is to realizing that everything that happens to us is part of God's plan. Not to hurt us, but to help us and to expand us. This is a quote from Swami, which I really like. Love is much more important than dogma. My self-value depends only on my love for God, accepting whatever comes. I'll say that again, love is much more important than dogma. So what does that mean? Even if you mess up with God, even if you don't follow the dogma, your self-value still depends only on your love for God. So we have to accept whatever comes. We have to accept other people's failures, other people's intruding on us. But we also have to accept our own failures and move on. Life without divine love is hardly worth living. Okay. The goal of life is to learn to live in God's consciousness. And this is another thing that Swami says to us. You don't have to make the effort to change yourself. You have to make the effort to open yourself. Changing is much harder on a physical sense than opening. But opening can be much harder on a spiritual sense. And we always want to go for the spiritual part of things. God's grace is always here. He is always looking for openings so He can come in and bless you. Grace is like the sunlight on the side of a building. So to abide in God is above all to open your heart to Him and to realize that you are His child. And when we can live in that consciousness, we find that everything we ever looked for in life is right there with us. It's not something that we have to work for. To abide in Master is to take His name. Think of Master all the time, especially if you are a devotee of this path. If you're a devotee of another path, whoever the Guru is, think of him, think of her all the time. Attune yourself. The Guru does not ever abandon you. And so whenever you tune in, you get help. Not always exactly what we want, but you still get help. So, you can't lift yourself through your own bootstraps. Only God can do that for you. I love that one. You can't lift yourself from your own bootstraps. Only God can do that. So abide in Him, be open to Him at all times. And ask God, what do you want me to do in this? Okay? Someone cuts you off in the car. And you ask God, what do you want me to do in this? Rather than getting all riled up about this other person. And what does God want us to do in it? He wants us to never ignore Him. The more we allow Him to get through to us, the more we will find ourselves acting in the right way. Because we'll feel more happiness and feel more of His presence. Hard thing to do when things are hard, when circumstances are hard. Hard to think about God and pulling Him in, rather than holding on to whatever is out there that's bothering us. But it's only by pulling God in, holding on to God, trusting in God, asking from God, that we're going to begin to calm down and to know that we are eternally loved and that everything is coming through God. So give every thought to God. And use the word you when you're talking to God. You know, I can say, oh God this, and oh God that, and oh Jesus, and oh Shri Teshwa. But you know what? When you talk to God, speak to God directly. In whatever aspect you hold most dear. Oh Lord, oh Mother, oh beloved Master, whatever it may be, remember that no matter who loves you on this earth, no matter if 10 million people love you on this earth, and if you are the biggest star on the earth, all of that, all of those people who love you, don't love you as much as God loves you. And so part of our job, it's not even a job, part of our blessing is to learn and to realize that our love for God is taken whenever we give it and is appreciated whenever we give it and is magnified whenever we give it. Sometimes we're not doing so well. Okay, God, I really want to love you right now, but I'm a little bit annoyed. I just don't know what to do with this. But I do want to love you. That's a love prayer. Sometimes we can't go for broke. Sometimes we have to struggle with it a little bit. So give everything that you are, every thought to God. And we said use the word you. And one of the things that's wonderful to do is to take a walk. Many of us like to go down here after Sunday service and take a walk. And it's fun because we get to talk with each other and be with each other. I was about to say but there's no but about it. That's really wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
However, the next time I do that with people, what I'm going to suggest is that the first 5 minutes of our walk, we just walk with God. Just be with God, walk with God. You can even have someone put on a timer if you want to be sure that it doesn't go into 6 minutes, you know. And then be with each other. Okay. And so it's wonderful to take a walk and feel that it is God's power walking through us. If you hear a dog barking, ask, what God are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to say to me through that? If you hear the birds singing, ask God, what are you trying to tell me through that? If you're passing by a stream and you hear the ripples and you see the ripples, what are you trying to tell me through that? Because God is in everything. There isn't any place where God isn't. And so we can reach out and we can touch Him in all these different ways. And God can give us messages through everything if we listen. And love is the only thing that matters. So love bliss above all, and in that bliss you will find your freedom. And I finished my big notes, but I wrote this out before I came because I don't know how many of you know about it, but there's a campaign put out by Ananda, and it's called Be a Warrior for the Light. And it's a prayer that goes out every Thursday. And they pray, and they also have a conversation, have a talk, and then they meditate. And this is the prayer. This is the prayer to be a warrior of light. It's a healing affirmation for the world. God's light is within me and around me. With the sword of faith in my hands, with the love of God in my heart, I am a warrior of light. I join my brothers and sisters everywhere to overcome fear with faith, hatred with love, and desire with health. We all are warriors of light. We fill the world with God's light. So may you fill the world with God's light. Fill your family, fill your friends, fill Walmart, fill every place that you go. Fill it with God's light. And God's light is always around us. Blessings.